And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for like probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. And, it's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City, Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson. I got to fix that fade. I realize now that I got to fix the fade is not, that's on you. You're the one who's responsible for the fade because you made the audio version of this. I'm Joe DeLeone. Joining me as always, my former college roommate and teammate from the University of Rhode Island, Sean Anderson. Today, we are going to be talking about Jim Harbaugh heading to the NFL, what that means for Michigan football. And then we, of course, have some various follies from the week, including the Kayshon Boutte betting scandal that dropped earlier today. All that and more coming up on today's show. Sean, how we doing?
Well, you asked for a shorter runway on the tail end of the bed, and I'm not putting my name on that fade. That is a Joe DeLeone fade if I've ever heard one.
I did ask for a little bit more runway. Send me a shorter one because I'm going to need a shorter one.
I keep on sending you shorter ones, and then you complain, and then you keyframe them, and they shoot right down. All right, I can fix it. I can do whatever I need, whatever you need me.
No,
to do
I mean I'll just slap a fade effect on top of the fade so that it'll be an abomination, as it deserves to be. Sean, before we get into talking about this though, can you just quickly share with our listeners a quick word from our friends over at BetOnline? Is the script that Cam gave, is it a little bit better? Is there a new one?
Yeah, there's a new one. It's playoff time, and the road to Vegas goes through San Francisco and Baltimore. BetOnline is your number one source for playoff football odds, stats, trends, and lines, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of player performance props. Head to BetOnline today and stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Is that the new tagline? There's a new tagline.
Seems like there's a new tagline. I have a tagline. BetOnline. If you are a college athlete, don't use us. Just a note, and we're going to dive into it. But when I'm talking about the sponsors and sports gambling, that does not go for athletes. You cannot bet on yourself or the games or gambling on sports, especially more sport.
We're going to get to the Kayshon Boutte stuff later. I saw some people having some fun with it. Bet on yourself. Be willing to bet on your own accomplishments. But I have obviously a terrible take with how I think Boutte should have been actually doing it if he was going to perform these illegal activities. We'll get to that a little bit later. But the news that broke last night, Jim Harbaugh, the national championship winning coach at Michigan, it is now public and announced that he is going to be taking over the Los Angeles Chargers, following up Brandon Staley as their next head coach, leading the future for this Chargers organization. And now it's up in the air on who they're going to hire. It seems pretty likely that they're going to go with Sharon Moore, who was the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach for a few seasons with the Wolverines. We're going to talk about candidates in a sec, but Sean, your thoughts on the move, maybe just the perspective on what this means for the Chargers and just your initial reaction when you heard this.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on Harbaugh going to the Chargers. I'm happy for him. He won a natty and he's out. I wanted Harbaugh to coach the Atlanta Falcons. We now have Raheem Morris as our head coach, which...
By the way, I was really rooting for Vrabel to get that job because of the obnoxious loop that would have been created, because it would have been Mike Vrabel, and he apparently was supposed to bring Arthur Smith with him as the offensive coordinator. That would have been so perfectly stupid. Maybe that's what turned them away. Maybe they didn't want to have to deal with Arthur Smith still.
Yeah, that would have been awful. But Harbaugh brings culture change, and the AFC version of Atlanta is the Chargers, and the Chargers culture has been abysmal the last 5 seasons. They have lost games that you can't imagine how they lost. They don't preserve leads. They don't capitalize when they need to. And all of these things that make you wonder how a team can get so cursed or get so talented and always fall short. It's culture. And the strongest asset that Harbaugh has is building a new culture. That's what they needed. They needed a talented leader to come from the outside and reteach the millionaire athletes, the 0.1 percenters, how to win football games again. Because there's guys that have won football games before on the Chargers. There's guys that won tons of games in college. But you get to the NFL sometimes and you forget because it's so damn hard to win it. Harbaugh is a fearless coach, obviously, and he's a dude that does it by his own volition. And I think the NFL has a serious leadership problem from their head coaches, where we're seeing now the finalists in the championship games. Andy Reid, great leader, culture guy, found it really well in Kansas City. Another Harbaugh in the championship. John coaching the Ravens. They have a wagon. Let's look to the NFC. Kyle Shanahan, kind of a 1-1 outlier guru schemer. And then you have Dan Campbell, leader of men, yeller, kneecap biter. And Harbaugh files into the Campbell camp for me, but closer. They need it. The Chargers need it. It's huge for them to get a guy like Harbaugh coaching them.
See, I personally think that now we're in this new wave of what head coaches are starting to be. And there's been some talk about how offensive coordinators seem to be the direction that a lot of these NFL teams are going in. But I actually think that the new wave is trying to get yourself a Dan Campbell, a DeMeco Ryans, trying to get a Mike Vrabel, who's now on the open market, somebody who has played, somebody that maybe is a little bit younger, somebody that the team is going to rally behind. It's purely a vibes play. It's a guy that is going to galvanize the group. And I do agree with you. I think that Jim Harbaugh fits that description. He's never been characterized as a guy this is an offensive savant. This is a guy who is going to bring a very unique scheme to the team. We don't even really know who his offensive coordinator is going to be. I would assume that Minter is going to follow him as the defensive coordinator. But what we do know is that we started to see towards the end here with the Chargers is that the wheels started to come off because it didn't feel like there was 100% buy-in, and they weren't able to finish games, which usually means there is some cracks in the foundation of that culture. So yeah, I agree with that. I think that this is the right move because you need somebody that is going to rally all the pieces. It's not a bad roster. Does it have some
it's
holes?
a great
Yes.
roster.
Yeah,
They
just need a couple defensive pieces, and I think they get to the next step.
I think NFL needs their coaches to be Mr. Wolf, and Harbaugh is a Mr. Wolf guy. Mr. Wolf's giving if you follow my instructions, we'll get the car cleaned up before your wife gets home. That's what these guys need. That's what NFL players need. They don't need another guy that's smart at the analytics. They don't need another quarterback in the quarterback room coaching the whole team. I'm sick of it. I like guys that can create a culture and get buy-in, because that's the only way you do the damn thing, unless you have uber talented star quarterback Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. That's the only way you do it. Look at how else it's going. You can load up like the 49ers and just build a juggernaut. And if your starting quarterback stays healthy, your game manager stays healthy, then you can win a Super Bowl. Other than that, you either need baller-ass quarterback or crazy bought-in culture. And we're seeing the ways it can go. But all the trendy hires, all the quarter zip guys, all the fresh, cool haircut guys, they're not there. They're not in. They get bounced. They get booted. So Chargers win the offseason by bringing back vintage, classic, effective coach. It's a great move. And now that he's removed from Michigan, I'm looking at him a different way. I am. And I admit that I do. I admit that the Michigan stuff at times this season did irritate me just as a fan of the sport. But now that it's separated and I'm looking at it through the NFL lens, they're winning the offseason. They won the offseason. It's the best hire of this cycle. Gerard Mayo's a great hire for New England, not as good as Harbaugh.
He's another one who fits into that description of what I was talking about.
And they're in the same. And I see why the Patriots set up that clause, because if Mayo hit the market, he would have gone. He would have been the first coach hired. So I know why they did it. I get why they did it. They need a culture guy, and they finally got one in Los Angeles. Next thing they need to do is move it back to San Diego. That's the next step they need to make. I'm tired of LA football teams. Are you?
I'm trying.
You have to be.
Okay, because no, I'm not, because LA football teams are not like beat you over the head type of an entity like it is in the East Coast. And like when we were living in Rhode Island of all places, which was an hour or so from Boston, that shit was beating you over the head. When you weren't a Patriots fan, all you heard and all you saw from people was Patriots, Patriots, Patriots. It was constantly beating you over the head. This isn't that type of a city. It's not truly a football city. It's not truly a sports city. And most of the football fans are Raiders fans or 49ers fans, because there have not been sports teams or football teams really here for a very long time. I mean, most people aren't even USC fans because most people are not bought in or really care about sports the way that we do on the East Coast. So no, I mean, I think at the very least, though, this does open eyes. And frankly, I'd go to a Chargers game. I have no idea if I'll still be living in Los Angeles by the time they play their first games, but I'd go to a game to kind of see what the product on the field is. And at the very least, one thing I will say, I think that they're in a capable position to get to the playoffs in 2024. I don't think that it is an unrealistic output for them to get there. I think that they have you're talking about here, they've got a good quarterback. They've got two really good defensive ends with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, assuming they keep Khalil Mack. And I'm trying to figure out what their cap room is. It does not seem that they've got a lot. It looks like, I think the number's 14 million, which is not great.
Here, I want your opinion on this, because I had a roommate that asked me, why would Harbaugh leave after winning a national title? I think
the answer to that is easy. The answer to that's obvious.
Well, I'd like your answer on that, and then I'd like a follow-up answer on the question, what do you think is a harder job right now, college coach or NFL coach? So I got a two-banger for you if you want to let it rip.
Wait, so the first part was, I'm distracted.
Why do you leave? And then college coach, NFL coach, which is harder? Because they tie in the same way, because you're dealing with way different things.
By the way, the cap number that they have, it's actually 45 million coming into this offseason. So that's actually pretty good money to play with. You could probably sign a good starting corner to fix that situation. But to answer your question, any other situation? No, I don't think that Jim Harbaugh leaves. I think that Jim Harbaugh might actually potentially lean towards staying, which is also something that he even tried to do. But you have to consider the circumstance of not only the new landscape of college football, of having to deal with NIL, having to deal with the transfer portal, which they didn't suffer a lot dealing with that this past cycle. It has become immensely harder to produce good teams the way that you're used to doing it, especially with the complications of not knowing what is going to happen during free agency of college football. The impending sanctions or punishments that were possibly going to come down on him makes the answer obvious. It doesn't make sense for him to stick around. He gets the chance to make a run at a Super Bowl before he retires for good, instead of having to sit on the couch for a year. It doesn't make any sense for him. He has a very rare opportunity. Like if he tried to do this 4 years ago or 3 years ago, when maybe like Urban Meyer was still there and they were losing to Ohio State and they weren't winning the Big Ten and they weren't going to the college football playoff, he probably wouldn't get this as excited of an opportunity to be offered all this money to lead the direction and have a first choice for an NFL franchise. So I think that him winning the national championship and then also the sanctions make sense. But to answer your other question, though, like which is better, I think normally it would be college football. Normally it would be, because there used to be a strong window of an off season. You got to take time off in the summer and you could take a long vacation, and you're not drafting. There's no draft that's going on. You are trying to recruit. And in the most part, if you have a good football program, you're going to have the best opportunity to get the guys that you want. If you're Jim Harbaugh, you won a national championship, you're going to be able to attract most of the guys that you're looking to go get. But now, no, I think it's the NFL. I mean, it's a year-long cycle now for the NCAA. There's so few off days, as so many people have talked about. And I think that if you talk to any modern coach, they all say they're all starting to get burned out. So no, I think that the NFL is the answer.
NFL has to be more better, because if you're worried about dealing with the diva factor, they're at least professionals. College, if you're dealing with the diva factor, they're just regular college dudes that you're yelling at or dealing with, and then you're dealing with year-long free agency also all year. How is that? That can't be rewarding. It can't be fun. It just has to, being a college coach has to kill you, because if you had a great day, right? You had some good calls, you did a home visit, and then you might have even gotten a flip. The next day, you're starting from square one again, because anything could happen. You could have any coach in your best players' DMs. You could have a guy breaks up with his girlfriend. Now he wants to transfer. It's just there's too many.
That is an
too many
interesting angle
variables.
to throw in there. Here's one thing I would add, though. If there is a little bit more regulation and guidelines put into college football, I think college football goes back to being the better job, because at the end of the day, there's like 20 jobs where you're expected to compete for a national title, maybe less than that. I think if you get like a mid-level job, like say if you get like a Cincinnati, or if you get like an Indiana, one of those jobs, you could kind of just get your team to a bowl game and collect the bonuses. The man who has done this the best is Bob Stoops, or not Bob Stoops, Mike Stoops. Sorry, the Kentucky head coach. They have just
Mark Stoops.
Why am I having such a?
You're a rube.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Mark Stoops. There's too many Stoops to keep track of, and then there's the slappy Stoops that is a part of the 2024
and
draft
you got
this year.
One out your back door, and then it's just tough.
Shut up.
Oof, sorry.
It has
Get out of here for that.
A guy like him, I think, has just been able to hang around and do the bare minimum and collect millions of dollars and still win, but doesn't need to win the conference. The expectations are a lot lower. That doesn't happen in the NFL. Every single job is expected to win in a 4-year window. And if it doesn't, you're out. You're fired.
It's definitely a short leash in the NFL, and it should be. It's the NFL. I'm very excited for the crazier Harbaugh to be back in that league. If the NFL does not implode due to the heightened rate of gambling on games from players, then it could be very fun. But I mean, if gambling takes over, then the whole league tanks and we don't have football. And then I don't know what we would do.
He better hire Connor Stallion. Speaking of players betting on games, though, I want to talk about the Kayshon Boutte news that dropped today. Former LSU wide receiver Kayshon Boutte came public today that he was caught gambling on a ridiculous amount of games, some of which that he was playing in. And here's a little bit of some context here that was written about Boutte. Boutte allegedly created the name of a fictitious female, Kayla Fortenberry, to create the online. Sorry, I don't know why I'm
pause the story.
Okay, the name.
One more time, please.
Kayla Fortenberry is the name that he went with.
That's not a good name to go with.
Right. So we're already off to a rough start.
Fortenberry probably knows a Kayla in his real life. Fort has to come from Fortnite, and he thought that Barry was a nice touch. So that's how it was crafted. Because I know if I'm breaking down how that name came to be,
he's a dumbass and used his own email, which was it doesn't even matter that he tried to do the fake name. To create the online gaming account and used his own mother's credit card to fund the account, the warrant says. 17 wagers were made on NCAA football, which included wagers on LSU football between the dates of August 28th, 2022 and August 9th, 2023. The warrant states 6 of the wagers were on LSU football, including one game where he bet on himself, investigators allege. That particular game was LSU versus Florida State on September 4th, 2022, where Boutte allegedly placed one bet. It's kind of funny that they aired this guy out so badly, where he would personally score at least one touchdown in the game, and another bet that he would have over 82.5 receiving yards. According to the warrant, during 2022 and 2023, Boutte deposited a total of $132,000 into the account. Boutte won a total of $556,000, but used most of that money to make additional bets. He withdrew $50,000. So that is
true, sicko.
That is the full extent of all this. Here's my one takeaway. If you're going to bet on NCAA games and you're going to
give us the locks.
No. Why would it? How? Oh God, it's just so poorly done. If you're gonna do it, you point shave, bet the under, and then just run aimlessly and run the wrong routes the whole game. Just if you're trying to make money and you're gonna go through with that, and I know, I'm sure that he's confident in himself. F that. If you're trying to make money and you have this much of a problem, take the under and blow the game. He was playing like shit anyways.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna play in the NFL.
Going to jail. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just rough. You just can't. You cannot. I think that America would repeal sports gambling to keep the NFL alive, and they should. And I love both. And I'm somebody that could do both. And I'm someone that was excited until I was done playing football to gamble on the football that I was playing. It's not that hard. It's one sacrifice. And even if you don't want to sacrifice it, do some reading. Have it set up somewhere else without your credentials.
Well,
it's everything, because it could be the collapse of the world's greatest sport on both levels, on the NFL and college, and then it could be the collapse of sports gambling in America. So if this continues to happen,
I don't think it's going to lead to that. At the end of the day, when
fans can't trust the product, Joe, then the product has no merit.
Pandora's box has already been opened. They're not going to go backwards with any of this shit. All that has, sports gambling has only been legal for a very brief amount of time in, the history of the United States or whatever the hell, just in modern sports history. Very small amount of time. There has not been enough time for players to have been held accountable to an extreme degree. So this is the reality of it. There had to have been guys to mess up in order for those to understand why they shouldn't do it and understand what the punishment leads to. Boutte's probably going to jail. He's probably going to jail. And that's what all these guys need to see of, oh shit, I need to delete my account right now. Or probably shouldn't open that DraftKings account. That's probably why Boutte never even thought he had to worry about anything. He clearly didn't think this through, because at the end of the day, he probably thought, they're not going to catch me. It's the same shit with guys who used to smoke weed when they played, when it wasn't legal in most states. It's the same kind of deal. Guys thought that they wouldn't get caught, and then they got caught.
Here's what I just want to know: who he is talking to or following that's having a great time wagering. Because it's good for fans. But is he seeing all the parlay complaints and ats to athletes where he thinks I got to be a part of this? I'm just saying, Joe, as a player, and I'm sure people were mad at him for messing up their overs. How are you mad at yourself for messing up your overs? Just play the game. It's unbelievable the lack of thought put into gambling on your own sport. And the only thing I respect is that he gambled on himself to do well. And I love that.
It sounds like that was only a very, incremental.
I gotcha. But I always respect putting your money where your mouth is, even if you're going to go down with the ship. That's something like when Calvin Ridley went down and he was betting on the Falcons to win. First of all, bad bets. But secondly, as a fan, I'm like, look at him riding with the boys. I kind of liked it. I did.
Wait, why didn't Calvin Ridley go to jail? And I'm now remembering this. Why was he not?
I don't know. The NFL has their own policy. Jameson Williams was suspended for 6 games.
But he didn't bet on himself, though. I guess I don't fully understand.
I'm not sure
the severity of this. All right, I want to move on to the next thing that we have before we get to some of our mailbag questions that we have. So I discovered this yesterday and I sent it to Sean. Always love to discuss media follies that happen. So Believe in Nets host on the Believe Network. Obviously we're part of Believe. I'm full-time producer with Believe. Eric Slater got into a little bit of a tricky situation while in a Twitter space. I'm just going to play the audio and we're going to talk about this a little bit.
Let us know you're all right, man. We've heard that happen before. Hopefully that happens with Spencer Dinwiddie. And whether they choose to go as Cam or they choose to whatever, just make it. Eric,
Yep.
you okay?
Yeah.
Yep, I am. I gotta head out, guys.
All right, let us know you're all right, man.
I
The
don't.
lack of explanation. The just. All right, I gotta head out, guys. That was the extent of it, and I don't understand this. Why guys do this? Like, why do you need to be in a Twitter space while you're driving? I never understand. And also, like, it always boggles my mind when I have a guest on, which is why I don't like doing guests. Why people try to join from their phone while they're driving? It's the same thing. Yeah, I hope we've checked in on Eric. He's doing okay, but I thought that was really
The initial Eric, you okay, is perfect. It's perfectly done. And then his dejected, yeah, which and he said he didn't even need to say another word because you knew that he just did some dumb, something stupider than shit in his car, and he wasn't looking, and he hit a pole, and just no, I gotta go. You know that it was his fault, that he was at fault. Oh, I love that so much.
I'm so sorry that we're making an example of him, but I hope that his car's okay and it's not that expensive for him to deal with. But that is,
you know what?
It's pretty funny.
I don't hope anything bad for him, but but to get that sound of that car crash from a Twitter space,
it's just so cartoonish. It's just
such
so
a
unbelievable.
perfect sound. Why did it go so long? Because he was moving. He wasn't just bumped into or backing up. That was a long crash. Oh, it was I can't get enough of that.
All right, next topic. I'll let you explain the next topic that you wanted to do on today's show.
Yeah. So a little bit ago, there was an alcohol collaboration where Doritos partnered with a big spirit producer, and they came up with a flavor of, it's like a vodka gin hybrid. It's a spirit. It's a clear alcohol that tastes like nacho cheese Doritos. And
disgusting.
Upon the conception, the researcher or the distillers were impressed and shocked and happy because you were able to create vodka that tasted like nacho cheese Doritos. And some form of science, that's impressive. For Joe and I, it's rancid, disgusting waste of time and resources. But you're scientists. You want to play around and be in the lab all day and get after it. You got it. That's your job. But I felt like it would be a good exercise for Joe and I to brainstorm and come up with some alcohol collaborations that haven't happened yet that we would like to see the resources funneled into, instead of gimmick gag nacho cheese alcohol that Valorant players would drink and buy. All right, PC gamers, not for us. All right, we are looking for some good alcohol collabs. Joe, start us off with a good one here. Give us one that the American public needs and that everybody could enjoy.
So I was trying to think of what would go well with a wine cooler, and I thought, why doesn't Cheese Whiz collaborate with like Barefoot or one of those shitty wine brands? Any thoughts on that? You're not feeling that one?
That's fucking terrible, Joe. Joe, that is
Cheese
awful.
Whiz wine cooler. Come on, that's a brilliant
wine
idea.
Cooler, not
cheese
brilliant.
and wine. Cheese and wine is a commonly sought after combination, and it is something that is appreciated by many. I think that cheese, and the important part here is we're going down a notch on both things. We're not doing like a fine cheese and a fine wine. No, we're going with a cheap wine cooler and Cheese Whiz.
Hey, Joe, you know what? That's been done before in Madison, Wisconsin. So I don't know if we could. I knew.
I'm also kind of wondering, would it be like thick? Would it be like pasty? Like is it like Bailey's? Is that
what was that cement shot that we had in Brookings? It would be like that. It would be how do I put it? How do you put it? How do you put what that texture would be without saying jizz?
Okay, thanks for saying that. What's your first one?
My first one. Let me pull this out. Hopefully it's better than Cheese Whiz wine. All right, yeah. I'll go with this. Welch's Fruit Snacks flavored gin. Make
Yeah, he
people
texted
like
me that one.
gin, and let's pair it with a universally beloved fruit
Have
snack.
you had gin before?
It's not the yeah, I don't like gin. I think that, but
It's
gin
too bitter for this. This doesn't
but
make
yeah,
any
yeah,
sense.
I know, but here, follow my train here. Follow my train here. I know
I'm
gin
not.
is bitter. It's bitter, but it's also floral and fruity. And the Welch's fruit snacks aren't the sweetest. They're floral and fruity, like fruit snacks. Like they're a little bit of a tamer fruit snack. So if you put that together with the gin, then I think we can get more gin fans, and we can. Who doesn't like Welch's fruit snacks? Have you ever just had one little pack of those?
This sounds like a children's drink mixed with an adult drink, which
Oh,
just doesn't,
you're
it doesn't
the
go.
fruits, not fruit juice, fruit snacks. You have to get the flavoring from the fruit snacks, put that in the gin, and then you got Welch's shots, and then you're having a good time.
I don't know why you wouldn't just do vodka. Vodka is far more
You can do
flavorless than.
vodka. You can do
Why
vodka
would
if
we?
you want.
Why would we?
I just think they
bitter
would
and
pair
sweet.
well.
Terrible.
I think it would pair. How was that? Sorry, your next one, please.
Oh, Brian's off the. How did none of us come up with Bailey's and Yoo-Hoo? God, that's a brilliant idea.
I think I have Bailey's and Yoo-Hoo in my house. I might
You
tap
need
in
to-
tonight.
Have you ever had a Dr. Nut before? This also made me think of this, but it's not really a Dr. Nut. Is amaretto.
You explain to me what a Dr. Nut is, and I'll tell you if I drank it or not.
It's amaretto and Dr. Pepper, and it is an unbelievable combination. I couldn't bring that to the table because that's not my own.
You know what?
My own
I haven't
idea.
had a Dr. Nut.
Do you have amaretto?
I drink Alizé
you-
like a gentleman.
Jesus Christ! Put the Alizé down, you
I got a little sip.
All right, my second one. This one's not really that creative. I mean, I was trying to come up with something that goes with a Four Loko, and I'm Celsius. Celsius has to. They obviously would never do this, but you'd have to probably mix them separately. But I think a Four Loko Celsius drink would be a great idea.
I've never had a Celsius, but I see them everywhere based on certain people that I may follow. Do you like Celsius? Is it good or is it dog water?
Yeah, no, it's great for if you need something quick and you're going to the gym and you're like half asleep, or not half asleep, but if you're like dragging ass and you need quick energy, which is why, like, we do these, like the vodka Red Bull is disgusting. Anyone who does a vodka Red Bull, and you need to remove yourself from the room if you're with somebody who's drinking vodka Red Bull. I think that Celsius tastes good. It's fizzy, and then you mix that with the Four Loko, double fizzy. I think it's a good combo.
I think I was at a David Guetta show in Ibiza, and I had 3 vodka Red Bulls back to back to back, and I didn't sleep well that night. And I haven't had a vodka Red Bull since.
You're a piece of garbage. And that's what you get.
I never saw Guetta, by the way. It was so packed. I was way back in the back. People were staking it out for hours for David Guetta. I couldn't believe it.
Is that how you pronounce it? All right, what's your
I didn't. I was more focused on the Calvin Harris concert.
Ryan, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I do want a 100% blackout rate. That is the goal. All right, go ahead.
We all like rum, don't we, Joe? Nice tropical, liquor.
Maybe.
What if we were to figure out a way to get a King's Hawaiian Roll rum?
That's wait. Okay, wait. I was thinking of like Hawaiian Punch, and then wait. Why bread and rum?
If
you
they
criticize my Cheese Whiz wine, and you're coming here with bread rum? That's dog shit. First
of all, bread rum kept the pirates alive for decades. Also, how else would they keep scurvy off, Joe? Idiot.
You're making that
Fruity
up.
rum and bread. What else were they going to eat on the ships? They had petrified meat and
shit.
Salt. Stop it. I'm not just saying shit. Also, if they could turn Doritos nacho cheese flavor into because you know more about pirates.
I do a show with a pirate expert, apparently.
If you could turn a nacho cheese Dorito into clear liquor and have it taste like that Dorito, why can't we have a rum that tastes like the King's Hawaiian Roll? It's delicious. It's a delicious little pocket of bread and sweetness that could get transferred to a nice rum. I'm not saying turn it into a brandy like a crazy person. We're not making cordials, but they could figure out a way to turn a carb, take the carb flavoring and put that into a clear liquor. We can find a way to do that with a rum. Don't say you hate that.
You're a fat piece of shit. I hate that.
And I am a piece of shit, but that's a good combo.
Okay, my last one, Jack Daniel's Slim Jim collaboration. What do you think about that? I think those just vibe together. I don't know what that would taste like, but those just felt right. I had some sort of connection there. Nothing? You don't approve of that?
Give me a beat. So you're saying Jack Daniels, right?
Yeah. Can't be any other type of whiskey. Can't be anything else. Only Jack Daniels.
And you want the Jack Daniels to taste like Slim Jims?
Well, see, like, I don't know what the Dorito vodka tasted like.
Tastes like nacho cheese.
Have you had it?
No.
Well, the idea is, you've got the taste of whiskey, and then I would think that a Slim Jim, I would eat a Slim Jim and drink whiskey. I think that those two things would go together nicely. So I'm wondering if there's a way to pair the two.
You know what? I'm not poo-pooing it, Joe. Give me a moment.
Do you have a Slim Jim and some whiskey?
No, I'm not poo-pooing it. So I have some Jack Daniels.
Do you have a Slim Jim?
No, I've had plenty of Slim Jims recently though, so I can. So I still have that. It's not like it's been a year and I haven't had one. So let me just take a little pull ski and see if I'd want a Slim Jim after this.
This doesn't. You just want to drink on the show. This has nothing to do with.
What are you, the feds?
No. Yeah, I am.
No, I couldn't use a Slim Jim after this.
Well, you've got bad taste.
No, I don't.
You've bad taste. What's your last one?
My last one.
You just said King's Hawaiian rolls and rum. I don't
make
God.
that into make a rum that tastes like a King's Hawaiian roll.
All right. What's the last one?
All right, here's something, and we're gonna have to get down to the chemical on this because there's a fantastic sports beverage, but unfortunately, it's too thin. So if you're mixing it with alcohol, the alcohol is too prevalent. Like you just taste too much of it. It's too strong. It's not a good mixer, but it's delicious. And I know you've had it, and I think we share the same sentiment. They need to find a way to infuse the vitamin water XXX acai blueberry pomegranate with some type of alcohol, and not just mixing it like a college kid. Turn it, crank it up, make it thicker, and then get the alcohol vodka in it.
Why is this so specific?
Drink, because that's a fantastic sports drink. That was the Powerade that we got in the dining halls at school, Joe, which. It's the best Powerade vitamin water. It's the best vitamin water flavor that there is. We can figure that out. That's something that needs to happen.
This is unbelievably specific.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't have wine cheese or jerky whiskey like you did.
Yeah. I get on my level.
No, that's not. No. I like that you're giving me some good big picture stuff. I'm dialing it in for you. Okay. I'm dialing it in.
It's a little too specific. All right, Sean, I'm gonna get to our questions here, and then we'll close out the show. First question that we have from Edwin Gomers: how many NFL teams do you think will legitimately have a grade on Penix, given that he has already had 4 season-ending injuries in 6 years of playing? I don't even know what this question means. We're gonna skip it.
Michael Penix Jr. would help any team that he was on.
I just don't know. It's making it seem like no one would draft Michael Penix Jr., which is just a really, really poorly worded question. Chester's first question: in honor of this video, what are your top 3 wing sauces? And he posted a picture of the Sydney Sweeney on Hot Ones. What are your favorite wing flavors?
Lemon pepper.
Yeah, lemon pepper's up there.
That's my one. Hot buffalo.
Yeah.
If you're a garlic parm guy or like the mango habanero guy, I have no time for you. It's
put mango habanero on there. Or you know what's good? That's very underrated. That not a lot of places do. Old Bay wings.
They're fine. But I'm out on barbecue wings. That's a waste of everyone's time.
Oh, terrible!
Huge waste of everyone's time. It's got to be. Yeah, you know what? I'm lame here. I'm lemon pepper or buffalo. I don't need any of the other trappings on my wings. Just give me a good wing. Give me a Wingstop lemon pepper wing or some southern wing where it's you got some good crisp to it and it's not that soggy like supermarket wing that you try to do, and if you don't have a fryer, it's just gonna kind of stay soggy. No. I think it's got to be
We
lemon
need that
pepper.
real shit.
Yeah.
Have you watched the Sydney Sweeney video?
No. I don't want to wake my neighbors. I'm sorry.
I might need to end the show. That was one of the most inappropriate things that has ever been said.
From the barking.
She's eating wings.
The yelling. I tell you what, I'm kind of stoked for big content guy. I like knowing that he had a big day.
Nick Davis's first question: Hayden Hatton draft possibly? No, I don't think he gets drafted. Actually, he might. There's a bad tight end class. There's a possibility. There's a really bad tight end class. I don't know if you have any. You probably don't have anything to add to that. Patrick,
I hope he does.
Patrick Firks asked 2 questions. We're going to skip the one where he asked for an early Big Sky ranking for 2024. I'm sorry, Patrick. It is too early to be thinking about that. The second question that he had, what are some sleeper teams for the 2024 FCS season? Maybe give one team you guys see making the playoffs that doesn't, that's not expected to, and one that might be expected to make the playoffs, but you see making a deeper run. I think that
yeah, you got it. You got the first one.
What did you have something?
Yeah, I thought Eastern Washington might be a sleeper for me. I haven't followed up on if Kiko Vesperis is still there, but he got better throughout the year, and they had a really tough schedule last year. I wouldn't be surprised if Eastern Washington went to the playoffs and won a game next year. Not saying they're winning it all, but they could be exciting.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to think that these questions are so hard without like being able to like really analyze these rosters.
It's someone out of the CAA also. I mean, UNH just had a dump, and then I don't know. You'll know in week 4, whichever CAA quarterback just gets thrown in there after the starter is gone, he'll probably string off 7 straight wins and then be an 8 seed, whatever team that he's leading.
Actually, you know who's been recruiting really well? Houston Christian's actually been recruiting well, and there's no trolling with that. They've had a couple good recruiting classes. I could actually kind of see them being.
But they lost their head coach. Braxton Harris went back to Campbell, I think.
Oh, you are correct with that. That did happen. Yeah, I'm not that plugged in at the moment. There's a lot of extra work that goes into being caught up. This is a great question by Chester. OnlyFans daughter or son who hates football? I think son who hates football, because that leaves the opening for them to be into other sports. I think the inverse of that is just I don't even want to acknowledge it.
Son who hates football is, I think, the better option for me. But you played lacrosse. I don't know if I could be like a lacrosse dad. I don't have that club in my bag. I can't do that.
Why do you immediately go to lacrosse?
Because if they're not into football, they're into some other beta sport.
No, I mean, there's plenty of kids that I know that are like hyper fixated on baseball and they're not into football.
Yeah, you know what? Baseball would be cool. Yeah, not the OnlyFans daughter. Just
I don't think any sane adult male would say yes to the OnlyFans daughter. That is a great question, Chester. I appreciate you asking that. Chester is always consistent with these names or with these questions. Chester's next question: what is your best fantasy name you've used? Cannot read the one that he.
He's got some touchy ones. I've been using the same fantasy.
So wait. Chester commented. So his name example was really bad. If anyone wants to go read these, they're on my Twitter. When
they're on your Twitter feed.
Yeah, Rack followed up with one that somehow is worse. Which I don't know if you happen to see what that was.
I saw them all, brother. What
was your fantasy team?
My fantasy team name. It's kind of, we've fluctuated a little bit. It used to be I change it to simulate digs at other teams and other players in my league. But now for the last couple of years, I've been locked in on Cock Michaels Esquire, my character that I've built, who is a play-by-play analyst. He's also a lawyer. on the side. I think he was at once a rules official because I know a lot of referees are also lawyers. So,
by the way, I sent you
he
that
made his way
picture.
to the booth.
Did you appreciate me using Cock Michaels as my identity while I was bowling? Did you appreciate me doing that? I also altered the score to make it look like I had hit 10 strikes in a row.
Here's the problem. People either like the character or they hate him. People will talk about Cock Michaels Esquire like he's a real person in the fantasy chat, or it's how much longer is he going to do this shit? And I'll just be texting in the group chat things that Al Michaels would say. And sometimes I'll just say Thin Mints ? Nobody gets it. Nobody, and it's fine. It's my favorite character that I've ever created. I've been trying to remember Joe's character that I made for him, who was the color commentator. That had it was
Poop Johnson. Well, Poop Johnson's
was
a real
Herb
person.
Street variation.
Oh, I forget what it was. My best team name, I had one that I can't repeat that had Sean's name in it.
Wait, hold on. What'd you have? Put it in the private here.
I'll put it in the private. But I'm really big on.
What was that?
I'm really big on like using other team members in the league. So like I at one point kept it really simple, and like, you know, one of my buddies didn't change his default name, so it was Team Gershow. So I made my team name Team Gershow. So now there's this bit where whoever beats the team with Team Gershow gets to change their name to Team Gershow. So there's just this cycle. There's just this cycle of new Team Gershows every single week, which is a pretty good bit. The one that I did this year, because I lost the Team Gershow name, somebody else took it from me. Two of my buddies, the night of the draft, one was visiting the other, and they were with their girlfriends, and they were like making this big deal that they couldn't do the draft the night that we planned for because they were going on a double date. And so I started berating them, saying, it doesn't matter, you guys are just going to get divorced anyways. So I made the team name just Team Divorce. That's not that creative. It's just kind of me trying to be mean.
Nice.
That's probably one of my better ones.
You see, I remember your team name now, and it might shock people, but I'm a bit combative in fantasy leagues, which could bring a lot of names about me. Yours, not even cracking the top 3 meanest. I mean, when I was a commissioner, there was Fire Anderson and Peach Anderson. Sean's micro penis was a name for not one but 2 teams at times. I became the subject of a lot of trolling over fantasy, and then Cock Michaels Esquire came along and saved me and rescued me out of the pit of despair, where I was just a lowly commissioner getting trolled by the whole league. Now I'm a regular player. Bowling.
Oh wait, you gave up your commissioner status?
Yes,
because you were tired of it.
Well, it's just because I was dealing with. I got so tired of trying to collect the money, and I just said, you know what, I'm done. Someone else take over. You got it, and then nobody else took over. And then 3 years ago, a week before the season started, another buddy took over commissioner, and he's done a decent job. But now he's got the direct team names for him. I'm good off that.
Should we ask? Rack just hopped in. Should we ask Rack's question? I don't even want to read it. Do you know the one that I'm talking about?
Of
the
course.
Zipper one.
How could I not
read it? Should I read it?
Yeah. Why not? Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Our friend Rack asks, "Hello, Joe and Sean. Have either of you been in a hurry while standing at the urinal and accidentally caught your penis in the zipper after finishing up?" I think I've done that once.
I haven't caught it in the zipper. Typically, it doesn't go past that.
All right.
Okay. But no, I really almost crushed one of the fellas on a deadlift, on a trap bar deadlift. My legs were too narrow, and on the initial pull up,
you seem like a guy who
I had to quit a rep in college because I almost went down and exploded.
You seem like a guy who sits on his nuts a lot. I'm just gonna say that.
I do not sit on my nuts a lot. I do not.
You just give off that vibe. Last questions that we have from Ryan Cortez, our good friend. I think we've been pronouncing his name right. Well, Ryan asked us the first one. He's got 3 questions. What's a realistic draft ceiling for Jalen Coker, and what team do you think would be a best fit? He's going to be a high priority free agent for me.
Yeah.
That was how I graded him. He's a guy who just works really hard, who I think is going to be like a really good special teams player. If not, he could work as a as a UFL guy in one of these other leagues. I don't know if it's the best team fit. He's a slower receiver that's good in possession situations. I don't know if there's necessarily like
it's like Indy.
Yeah. I don't know if there's.
You got Pittman and you got Mo Alley Cox, and then you got Alec Pierce. They're a team full of possession receivers. So if you wanted that, Coker could go there.
Favorite old school Nickelodeon game show, a la Guts, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Double Dare, etc. I don't think I have an answer for this one. I didn't really like those.
That came right before us. That was midnight. I was born in 98. Joe was born in 99. So we were a little bit after that. I don't know if I was always a Jeopardy kid. I was always a huge nerd Jeopardy. Never got a question right when I was a kid, but I loved it.
This is a really good question. Favorite hangover brunch meal? I immediately popped in my head. I think the cold calzone you ordered from the night before.
That's great. That's a great pull,
did
DeLeone.
not eat.
That's a hell of a pull, DeLeone.
They used to do that often. I used to order one, and then I would eat part of it, and I'd get too tired, I'd fall asleep, and then I'd wake up, and I would eat the mac and cheese calzone that I had that was left in the fridge. But most recently, the last time I ordered a calzone was 2 years ago when the Super Bowl was in LA. There was they do the media party, and they did it at Universal. And I, with a couple of coworkers, had way too much to drink, ended up being out until like 3 a.m. Get back, I'm starving. I order a calzone, fall asleep on my couch. The calzone is left outside in front of my apartment, just sits outside until 1 o'clock the next day. I proceed to open the door to like go throw something out, notice that the calzone is there, forgot that I ordered it. Yeah. And that was probably one of the best meals that I've ever had.
That's a great
lukewarm calzone that was sitting there.
I forgot about your Universal party. That was awesome. Yeah, that next day calzone is huge. I would say I've kind of been my Sunday meal lately has been a bacon, egg, and cheese with cream cheese on it, on a bagel. Trust me, it's a little out there. It doesn't look good.
Where did you find that?
I mean, there's bacon, egg, and cheese bagels all over the place. Sam put me on to adding the cream cheese on it. That's actually been a bit of a godsend. I know
if you'd be praised or shot in New York City if you ordered.
Should be both. I'm telling you, it's not great. I understand that it's a divisive breakfast sandwich because you have bacon, egg, and cheese, and you have bagel with cream cheese. Combine them both, and it's a pretty good hangover fix for me.
I'm trying to think what else.
You just get a little more of that texture on there. It just
the general go-to is you stumble your way to the nearest diner and you just order the biggest mess of eggs and a side of pancakes. That's always been like the go-to. And you get a cup of coffee, you chug some water, and then that's usually enough to get me just rolling into the next day easily.
What if I had a really good one recently. What do we have? I mean, anything hot. You got to get anything hot. Yeah. You got to get something with some protein in it, and it's got to be hot. I think I had half of a doner kebab in Germany when we were leaving, and it was fucking fantastic, Joe. Because it was just I just put it right in the microwave, and it was so good.
That for some reason we'll wrap after this. That reminded me of that one night where you and I were out, and then we came back, and then you and I drunkenly made kielbasa. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Kielbasa is always a play, but that's got to be a night of play. Next day, way too much oil, and you can't fry it up in the oil the next day. Your stomach's going to be torn up. If you're doing the kielbasa bit, it's nothing's better at 2:30 in the morning after a good winter's drunk than that kielbasa. But you cannot take it over into the morning. You cannot do that.
All right. It's good enough to wrap us up on at Joe DeLeone at Sanderson Radio. Hit that subscribe button. We will be back next Thursday with our next live stream.